The final minutes of the year had always belonged to celebration. Sparkling lights, countdown clocks, laughter swelling as the old year slipped quietly away. But this New Year's Eve was different. The city glittered as usual. Fireworks rehearsed their thunder in the distance. Yet inside a softly lit studio overlooking Times Square, something fragile hung in the air. Kelly Ripa stood beside Mark Consuelos, her hand curled tightly into his. The cameras were rolling, the audience buzzing with anticipation, but there was a stillness between them, an unspoken weight that fans sensed instantly. They had been together for decades, television's most beloved couple, a pair known for playful banter, inside jokes, and an effortless chemistry that made love look easy. Tonight, though, the laughter didn't come. Kelly took a breath. Not the quick, practiced inhale of a seasoned host, but a slow, trembling one, as if she were steadying herself before stepping onto uncertain ground. "We've always believed in being honest with you," she began, her voice soft, almost reverent, "especially tonight." The room fell silent. Mark squeezed her hand, his jaw tight, eyes glistening beneath the bright studio lights. He nodded, encouraging her forward, even as his own composure wavered. "For years," Kelly continued, "you've welcomed us into your mornings, into your homes. You've celebrated with us, and tonight we owe you the truth." Fans watching from couches across the country leaned closer to their screens. Social media paused mid-scroll. Something was happening, something raw, something real. Mark cleared his throat, his voice rougher than anyone had ever heard it on air. "This year tested us," he said simply, "in ways we didn't expect, in ways we weren't sure we'd survive." A collective gasp rippled through the studio audience. Kelly blinked back tears. "People think that because you smile on television, because you laugh and joke, everything must be perfect behind the scenes. But perfection isn't real. Love isn't tidy, and sometimes it hurts." She stopped, overwhelmed. Mark stepped in, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, pulling her close like he had done countless times before, except now it felt different, protective, desperate. "There were nights," Mark confessed, "when we sat in the dark after the kids were asleep and asked ourselves questions we'd never dared to ask before." Kelly nodded, tears slipping free at last. "Is our love still growing together, or are we just standing still?" The honesty hit like a tidal wave. For decades, Kelly and Mark had been a symbol of enduring love in an industry notorious for broken marriages. They had met young, built a life under relentless public scrutiny, raised children while juggling careers that never slowed. From the outside, they were unbreakable. But tonight, they peeled back the illusion. "This year," Kelly said quietly, "I felt myself disappearing." Mark turned to her, startled. "I was doing everything. The show, the schedules, being on all the time, and somewhere in that noise I stopped hearing my own voice." Mark's eyes filled. "And I didn't see it soon enough," he admitted. "That's on me." The studio lights reflected in Kelly's tears as she shook her head. "No, it's on both of us. Love isn't about blame. It's about noticing when the person you love is drowning." Mark took a deep breath, his voice cracking. "There was a moment," he said, "when I realized I was more afraid of losing the comfort of our life than fighting for the woman I fell in love with." A hush fell over the room so deep it felt sacred. Kelly reached up, cupping his face, "And I was more afraid of disappointing everyone else than admitting I was struggling." They stood there, holding each other, two imperfect people standing naked in their truth. "We didn't come here tonight to announce an ending," Kelly said firmly, sensing the fear rippling through viewers. "We came here to talk about a beginning." Mark nodded. "We went to therapy. We had hard conversations. We cried, more than I ever thought I would." A soft, tearful laugh escaped him.
I learned, he continued, that being strong doesn't mean being silent. It means being present. It means listening when your partner whispers before they have to scream. Kelly smiled through tears, and I learned that asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The countdown clock behind them flickered to life, 00.01.30. The audience shifted, emotional, breathless. This confession, Kelly said, isn't about drama, it's about reality. Because if even one couple watching tonight feels less alone, then this vulnerability matters. Mark squeezed her hand tighter. We're still here, still choosing each other, but we're choosing each other differently now, with honesty, with boundaries, with grace. The numbers ticked down, 00.04.45. Kelly turned toward the camera, her gaze unwavering. If you're entering this new year carrying silent pain, please don't. Mark added softly, talk, reach out, love loudly. The final seconds echoed through the studio. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fireworks exploded outside, illuminating the windows in bursts of gold and crimson. The audience cheered, but the sound was gentler than usual, less party, more prayer. Kelly leaned into Mark as the clock struck midnight. He kissed her forehead, lingering, reverent, not for the cameras, for her. As the confetti fell, Kelly whispered something only he could hear. "Thank you for staying." Mark's reply came without hesitation. "Thank you for letting me." The broadcast faded out on that image. Two people holding each other, not because everything was perfect, but because it was real. Within minutes, the internet erupted. "I'm sobbing. This took courage. They just saved my marriage. Love isn't pretty, and that's why this mattered." Fans didn't feel betrayed by the confession. They felt seen. Because in a world obsessed with polished images and fairy tale endings, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos dared to show the messy middle, the part where love cracks, bends, and if nurtured carefully, grows stronger than before. And as the new year dawned, one truth rang louder than the fireworks. Sometimes the most devastating confession is also the most beautiful
Viewers were
promise
left
of all.
emotional as Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos broke their silence during a deeply personal New Year's Eve moment. In a rare and tearful confession, the beloved couple opened up about the struggles they faced behind closed doors, revealing heartbreak, healing, and the difficult conversations that nearly changed everything. As the countdown to midnight began, their raw honesty stunned fans and sparked an outpouring of support across social media. Was this the most emotional moment of their marriage yet? Watch as love, vulnerability, and hope collide in a confession that reminded everyone why their story still matters. Fireworks exploded outside, illuminating the windows in bursts of gold and crimson. The audience cheered, but the sound was gentler than usual, less party, more prayer. Kelly leaned into Mark as the clock struck midnight. He kissed her forehead, lingering, reverent, not for the cameras, for her. As the confetti fell, Kelly whispered something only he could hear. "Thank you for staying." Mark's reply came without hesitation. "Thank you for letting me." The broadcast faded out on that image, two people holding each other not because everything was perfect, but because it was real. Within minutes, the internet erupted.